Yes, children, your questions, teachers and children, you may ask your questions, please.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Sir, Gayatri Mantra, so you were saying that Gayatri Mantra invokes us for getting knowledge from the divine. But sir, it is not mentioned in anywhere in the Rig Veda that Gayatri Mantra is supposed to give us knowledge. It is actually dedicated to a god Savitar. He is the god of light of the Surya and the god of immovable and movable things. So, sir, some people say that it invokes knowledge inside of us, and some say that it is for the protection of us. Some say that Gayatri Mantra is not dedicated to Lord Gayatri. Some say that it is dedicated to Savitar. So, what should I do? I'm confused in that. And
Yes.
also, Gayatri is not mentioned inside of the Gayatri Mantra. It is mentioned Savitar Tat Savito Varenyam. Ye mighty protect us Savitar. So, sir,
Okay.
why is it not said that this is the Savitar mantra? Why Gayatri mantra when it is not mentioned in there only?
So, Gayatri is a meter. Like in poetry, you have different meters. First, we must understand that the Gayatri is the meter in which the mantra has been given. Now, the purpose of mantra was that there are sound rhythms which are also evocative. It was a study done or a discovery made by the rishis that when sound comes out in a certain rhythm, it has its power, which we can understand in everyday life. When you say the same thing in a beautiful rhythmic way, and when you say the same thing in a very, harsh way, the effects are different. For instance, if you want to ask knowledge, and you say, grant me knowledge, and if you say, grant me knowledge, now there is a difference. So the mantra was a way through which these sounds were, the sound symbols were meant to open the doors to whatever deity we were invoking. Now, in Gayatri Mantra, it is the sun, Savita. So, what is the sun? Sun is the symbol of light and heat. He is the creatrix consciousness. That is how we look at the sun. Entire earthly life is managed by the sun. And but the most characteristic aspect of the sun is light and heat. So, this light which comes from the sun is the symbol of knowledge. So, the mantra is invoked in the mind to create better understanding. That is how the mantra runs. So whether we use the word knowledge or light or understanding, essentially we are invoking something in the mind, like a light in the mind, which will give us true knowledge. Now obviously this knowledge is not technical knowledge, but it creates a ground for any kind of knowledge. If there is, imagine in a room you want to study anything, you first need light. If light is not there, if it is all dark, then whatever we study, it will always remain imperfect. So, through the Gayatri Mantra, the invocation was to make the mind a mind of knowledge, to make our understanding clear as daylight. Now, with this understanding, whatever we read, whatever we see, books that we read, people whom we meet, whatever contact or impact comes within us will be seen in a new light. So it was to mold the mind or to grow in the mind a new kind of light in which we look at the world anew, and then whatever we understand will be a truer understanding and a deeper understanding of the essence of things. To just give an example of the difference. Now, when as a child people used to write an essay on cow, so you can write about cow as four-legged creature, etc., etc. No, it gives milk. All this. This is one understanding of the cow. But in when we were children, I'm sure your school also has something similar. So what was the first sentence we used about the cow? We used to say, "Gau hamari mata hai." Now it is very strange. कैसे माँ हो गई? Now, if you really now when we look at it, ki how the cow is your mother, it's not about the milk she gives and all these things she give, but it has deep Vedic connotations. That the word cow itself, go, means light. So we are born from the light. It was like right at the beginning, we were told that she is a symbol of light. And light is our origin and not darkness. So now, this understanding, looking at the same cow, one person looks at it as a four legged animal, and the person is right. Another person looks at the cow and says, she is the symbol of the mother who gives plenty to us. Kamadhenu. She is the giver of things, milk, knowledge. She is the one, everything that comes out of her is nothing but a gift of knowledge. So, this is a different, this light which makes us see the same thing differently in a new and more comprehensive way is the light that is being invoked by the Rishi Vishwamitra. Rest is, you see, technical details. It's no point, whether it is written in Rig Veda or whether it is, of course, it is there, but those things are really not important. Get the essence of things. That's what I'm trying to say. Say, for instance, there are people who don't know Sanskrit. Are they to be barred from receiving true knowledge? No. There are people who believe, see, that is how sects are formed, that no, only in this way. For somebody, it works very well through a knowledge of Sanskrit. For somebody else, it may be any kind of language where the person says, I want light. You think God will withhold his light from him? No, he will give it. So this is what we must understand, that while form is important, all this is important, most important is the inner state. If I say Gayatri Mantra every day and I don't have this urge for knowledge, if I do it mechanically, if I do it because my parents have asked me to do it, its effect will be much less. Then if I do it with the true understanding that I want light in my mind. Of course, I may want light not only in my mind, but in everything, in the body cells. So you can go beyond the mantra. So we will not limit ourselves to anything in this world, because the Vedas are still being written. See, there is an aspiration which many of you may carry. I carry that aspiration. I want light not only in the mind. I want light everywhere, in the darkness, in subconscious, in my physical self. I don't find a prayer written like that in the ancient traditions. Should I stop? No, I must follow my own aspiration. That's what is the essence behind what we are trying to communicate. Okay?
Thank you so much, Alokda, for such an elaborate explanation. I'm sure your concept is clear, Shashwat. Yeah, I can see that. Saransh Mishra has a question, sir. Suresh, unmute Saransh. Yes, Saransh.
Sir, I have a question. As you said while speaking, that the name of God is just like a filter. So, sir, can you elaborate on this? Sir, how to practice it and how can it be working like a filter?
Okay. Yeah. So what I meant is that when we name of God is a filter, no, that's what, yes. So this is one of the ways we can look at it. See, when we receive things from the world, we are receiving all kinds of things. We are not aware of it. It's not only the vibration. We are receiving fear, we are receiving jealousies, we are receiving hatred, we are receiving desires, all kinds of things. Imagine when you go to a market, suddenly you feel like buying something. Have you experienced that suddenly you are seized with an anger for no reason? जिसको बोलते हैं ना मूड खराब हो गया. Suddenly there is depression coming in. Why? Because we are surrounded by a sea of vibrations. And it's very difficult to even recognize, let alone cut off. Sometimes the friend with whom I am walking, and a good friend, may be in a bad mood. And without my realizing, I am contaminated with that mood. So we must have some kind of a filter through which automatically everything gets filtered. Now, when we think about God or take His name, it becomes like a surrounding aura around us, like a protective aura when we take God's name. It has that power within it. He comes and He surrounds us. And when He surrounds us, that means everything now that comes, whether it be a virus, whether it be a fear, whether it be jealousy, hatred, it will go through that filter. And when something goes through God, you can imagine what will happen. He will not let any of those things touch us. And even if for some reason they touch us because some spot is weak, He will immediately rectify and mend it. Because that's the power of the filter that we can create. We can use another term like it creates an envelope, protective envelope. That's not really important whether we use filter or not, but it's to filter out the vibrations that we receive from the world. We are not aware of this. We think that it doesn't matter whom we meet, where we go, we attend a marriage, we attend a party, function, we meet people, we watch the television. All this is a sea of vibrations and chaotic vibrations. And the reason there is so much malady in the world. But we cannot isolate ourselves. It's not possible. And we are not meant to. We are meant to be leading in life. So taking God's name creates a kind of buffer all around, like an envelope, which prevents things from entering and directly impacting us. They get modified, they get annulled, and sometimes they will also get transformed. So this is the power of God's name. Sri Aurobindo has gone on to say, when there will be a change in our entire consciousness, then we don't even have to worry about taking God's name. Automatically there will be immunity. That is what Shri Krishna tells to Arjuna, that take my name and go through the battle of life. So that even if you fall, whatever may happen, all the time you will be in a safe zone. You will be carried by me. Even death will not come near. It will have to take permission from this surrounding environment. It's the atmosphere of God that becomes the filter. Yes.
So, Kavish Dua?
Yes, ma'am.
Suresh? Yes.
Sir, you said that God never punishes us for our mistakes. But what about those people who do atrocious things intentionally? Does God punishes them?
Yes. So, what do you think God should do if somebody is doing atrocious things? Can he pass on the buck to the people? They will say, but you are the creator. So, what he does is, he changes them. Now, in the course of changing, what we call as punishment is nothing but going through an intensive disciplining method through which people change. It is not punishment. Punishment is a way to look at it. I'll give you an example. When we are, our handwriting is not good. So the teacher asks us to write 10 times. Now we may look at it like a punishment, or we may look at it like a way through which we improve our handwriting. So in God's dictionary, there is nothing like punishment. He cannot pass the responsibility to somebody else. He says, okay, I will help you become better. In that course, he will make us go through experiences which will help us become better and better. So in his consciousness, it is only love. Sometimes where a moms or a teacher deprives us of something, is it because she wants to punish us, or is it because she loves us? So that's what I'm trying to say, that God only loves. But sometimes out of his love for us, when he sees that we are doing things which are very, as you said, atrocious, so she may even say, no, give the remote in my hands. No TV for this 2 hours. Now, this is at a miniature scale. At a mega scale, it would mean taking away from us certain things, which we may think is punishment, but it is because we were misusing those things, and because of which our consciousness was going in a different direction. So that is how he helps us to become better and better. They are not punishments, they are ways of changing us. But he need not go through this way. If we listen to the mom, understand, then she need not snatch away the remote. So he gives us the option. We can change in a simpler way, in a much better way. But if we resist the change, then sometimes he creates a kind of situation through which change is imposed upon us. But that is never done as an act of punishment. It is always an act of love, because the will behind this action is to change and not to give. By punishment, see, what is the difference? Punishment is where you say you did a wrong thing, therefore you are punished. What does it mean? I am paying something for my past. Punishment is looking into the past. And what is change? Change is looking into the future. Whatever I may have done and for whatsoever, I need to become a better human being. That's all that is in God's view. He is always moving in the future tense toward the future. So what I am doing today may be a consequence of the past, but that's not God's business. His business is to take us toward the future. So that is how we have to look at it. Whereas when we use the word punishment, you did this, therefore you are being punished. But for God, you did this, therefore today this happened, but I will take you to the future through this road or that road. That's what I meant when I said He doesn't punish, but He changes us and helps us. And even when He is taking us through a tough passage, He doesn't leave us. He comes with us. And at any point of time, if we say, God, this is enough, I want to change, I have a sincere will to change, then all the circumstances change, situations change, because He is waiting for that moment to come within. Okay?
Beautiful. Yes. So, Palak, you have a question, I believe. Yes.
Yes. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for your such beautiful words. Many of my questions are answered, but one question is still not answered. That uh, from um, from the very much like from my past, I've been like listening that our destiny depends on our karma. Whatever we have do in our past life, we will face in a future, or like it will depend on that like destiny. And destiny has a means that we cannot decide where we will get birth, like in a poor family or in any rich family, or any in we will go in president's family or anywhere. So it depends on our karmas, what we have done in our past life. So, this question is that does our destiny depends on our karmas, whatever we are doing like in our past?
Okay. So, implicit within this question, the law of karma basically, is the idea that being born in a rich family is a blessing. What if it is not? See, what if it is a curse to be born in a rich family? I am taking another extreme. Both Duryodhana and Karna and Arjuna, they are all, if you look at it, Karna's life can be a good example, but look at it like this, that both Arjuna and Duryodhana, or Bhima and Duryodhana, they are both born in rich families. They are both prince. But what they make of that being a prince is what matters. So basically, law of karma is this, that depending upon our past, we have certain things in the present. But it is not a reward or punishment. Reward or punishment is how we deal with it and what we make of it. Duryodhana messed it up by a certain kind of attitude he took towards life. Bhima and Pandavas turned it into a blessing. If you see outwardly, who had a more difficult life? Pandavas or Kauravas? Pandavas, isn't it? Born in the forest, again and again they had to go to the forest. Who had a more difficult life? Draupadi or wife of Duryodhana? Draupadi. And yet, look at the paradox. Yet Krishna is with them. So obviously, if we say that because we did some papa and punya, therefore, we get outer life, then Pandava must have been great papis in their previous life to get this kind of a difficult life where they lose the game, they have to be abandoned in the forest, born in the forest, they have to fight a gory war even for a little spot for their feet to. Eventually they won. But look at the challenge of the life. So basically, this idea that karma and reward and punishment makes it very mechanical. Then where is the role of God? Where is grace? So basically, this thought that it's such a mechanical law has been created by human beings who believe that there should be a mechanical justice. But in real life and in God's vision, justice is not this way. Look at when a tiger chases the deer. Who is likely to win? Most likely tiger. But deer is a nice guy. He is a vegetarian. Why should he lose? That's how we will think. But that's not how nature operates. Nature challenges the deer through the tiger. And therefore, what the deer develops, it develops swiftness and in his own right is speed. What does the tiger develops? Strength and power of stealth. So karma basically means whatever energy we allow in this world, that energy will grow in us. As simple as that. Now, when that energy grows in us, we may use it to good use, we may use it to a bad use. It's that will decide future course. Look at Ghatotkach. He is a Rakshasa's child. All the energies are dark energies. That's why at night he's so powerful. But Ghatotkach has a moment when he has to make a choice. And he puts all his Rakshasi Shaktis at the service of the divine work. And that makes him immortal. So basically, he had increased these energies inside him because he was a Rakshasa and he increased these energies. But he used this energy to a most wonderful work in a war where God himself needed him. So at the end of the day, outer circumstances, whether we are rich, poor, all this is not so important. We give it importance. We think for God also it's a big thing that, he's born in a rich family. A person may be born in a rich family, but full of a very weak body, full of diseases, full of unhappiness. But a person may be born in a poor family, but he may be the one who becomes strong because he has faced the challenge of life. That person may be naturally happy. He may not need anything outside to be happy. So rich and poor is very often, I can tell you, that being born with all the riches may not necessarily be a blessing. That's what the Bible says, and that's what most of the mystics have said. Because it will make us lazy, it will make us take life for granted. We have never faced the challenge, so we never, we don't bring out the best from within. Whereas when we have challenges in life, then the best comes out. So which is a blessing? Which is a reward? To have challenges in life or to have comforts in life? So you see, the way we read God's intention is not exactly how He works towards, When He wants us to grow, He gives us challenges, which may mean extreme situations, maybe a poor family, like Pandavas. But what we do with it, that is again the difference of Karna's life. Karna's life had a challenge. If he wanted, he could have become really a ideal human being. What he did, he made the mission of his life to prove that he is better than Arjuna. What a pitiable aim. He didn't need to do this. So that's how we have to understand that it's not about whether we are born rich or poor. See, look at Krishna himself. He is born in a prison. What a miserable fortune. Look at the life of Rama. They were all God incarnate. So would we say that Rama and Krishna were big sinners? That's why they had such a difficult life. So obviously this popular theory of karma is too mechanical and mathematical to be true. So, and they don't leave any room for grace. As if grace cannot change everything. Grace can change everything. That is what is the lesson of all the great ones. Even in the Gita, you will not find the law of karma speaking all this. This is our own invention. The Gita says if we do karma in a state of darkness, without caring for anything, mechanically, then it tends to cloud us. It tends to make our consciousness dark and heavy. Same karma. And when we do the same karma with an idea of ego and selfishness, desire, it will bring us temporary happiness, temporary sorrow. And when we do the same karma, exactly the same karma, with a sattvic consciousness, with the idea of what is right and what is not right, then it brings into us light and happiness. Exactly the same karma. So what really is karma? Karma is not the outer act, but the state in which we are doing it. That is the whole teaching of the Gita. Krishna is asked to kill. Is it a good karma or a bad karma? Well, if Arjuna did it out of deep-rooted hatred and vengeance, then it won't be a good karma. He may enjoy the kingdom, but he will never really be inwardly happy. But if he does the same karma with the idea, as he does subsequently, that this is the will of the divine for the sake of dharma, to create a better world, India is unsafe in the hands of the likes of Duryodhana. If he does the same karma with this idea, also as a Kshatriya, that it's my duty to protect the righteous. If I abandon the arms, all those who are subject, they are the ones who will bear the onslaught of a king like Duryodhana. Same karma he does, and he grows into the likeness of God. So karma is not about a mechanical action, it's about the state of consciousness in which we do what we do. And its results are not outer but inner. It is like when you do a karma in an unselfish way, you feel inwardly joy and peace. When you do the same karma with an extreme inner selfishness, then it takes away our joy and peace. These are the inner results of karma. This is just one example. So, karma is an inner mechanism to help us grow towards vastness, towards light. Its purpose is growth, learning and growth, not reward and punishment. Outer things like richness and poverty, that's not the main consideration. The main consideration is inner richness and inner poverty. There are people who are rich outwardly, but they are poor inside. Is it a blessing? No. There are people who are poor outside, like Kabir, but very rich inside. Is it a punishment that they were poor? No. So let us focus on our inner riches, inner wealth, inner attitudes, inner state of consciousness. And if we have the right consciousness, it doesn't matter what challenges of life we have through whatever karmas in the past. See, this is the problem of the karma theory. It turns back to the past. But what is important is what we can do today. So more than karma is purusharth and grace. This is the set of circumstances I have in life. It doesn't matter because of past life, this life, that life. Now, where do I want to take it further? That is the challenge given to me. And if I just focus on that, life will grow beautiful.
Beautiful.
So much,
Sarthak Mishra.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. And it is always so beautiful to listen about that inner fellow inside us. Sir, there were two things that you said. One was that whatever we are releasing in the world is what is increasing within us. And sir, the second is when we are happy from the heart, even less energy lasts longer and enthusiasm develops in us. So, sir, what are the means through which we can keep our heart happy from inside?
Ah, wonderful question. This second one I'll take. First one, tell me later. The way to be happy in the heart is to love. Love yourself, love everybody around, love this world. Love plant, trees, animals, love God. Love is the feeder of joy. And whenever a person is deficient in joy, that means there is deficiency of love. Vitamin L is deficient, therefore, chemical J, joy, is missing in the system, and therefore, disease D is entering into the picture. And why we are unable to feel that love? Because many times, we want somebody to love us. There are one kind of people who develop like, oh, so and so must love me, so and so doesn't love me. So what happens as a result? They are all the time wanting this dose of love from outside. So if they get it, very nice, but you can't get always unlimited dose of love from outside. So they suffer. Whereas if you take it that love is important, let me love. Nobody can stop you from loving this creation. You don't need to have one person to love. Love everything and everybody around you. And you see the heart will be so happy. Even in the extreme adversity, you will be happy. Why? Because you know how to love. So even if we don't love God, after all, when you love creation, it's a way of loving God only. It is His creation. So when you love this creation, you love God. So love things, love people, love men, love human beings, love animals, love plants, and you see tremendous joy will come inside. And what was the first question about inner and outer?
Yes, sir. Sir, this was answered by this answer. Sir, actually, it was that how can we release joy outside to be happy from inside? So, sir, if we love everyone, then we will like release love and get love inside.
Yes, yes. Release the energy of love, radiate joy, and it will come back from every side manifold. This world is suffering because of that. Okay? Because we don't know how to love. We have forgotten how to love.
Thank you,
Just
sir.
love things.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Sir, what is the role of luck in our life?
What is the role of luck in our life? Is that the question? Okay. So, luck is the name like chance, like random, like fate, when we don't understand how things happen. So, there is nothing really like luck, but we use this word because we don't know why things happen or how they happen. So, but what we call as luck is the result of a play of forces. Let us say, for example, that there is a little accident where two cycle people coming from different directions, they clash into each other. Now, we use the word luck. Or let us say that we applied for a lottery and we got a lottery. That will be more correct example, isn't it? That somebody applies for a lottery and one gets a lottery. And then we say that it is luck. Now we use the word luck because we don't understand why out of 10,000 people, why did I get it? Or somebody appears in a competition in which 100 get selected and 20,000 don't get selected. Again, we use the word luck because everybody had tried their best and everything. But it is simply because we don't understand that there are many forces that work in the world to create any given event. There is nothing like randomness. But yes, it's too much for our mind to comprehend. All the universal forces that are playing around, therefore, we use the word luck as a way of saying, I don't know how this happened. So, luck literally means that I don't know how this happened. I'll give you a little example of the story of Einstein. So, Einstein once was going with a friend on a trail and he was lost in his thoughts and he hit a branch of a tree, low branch. And then Einstein suddenly became quiet in a very reflective mood. So the friend asked, what happened? He said, the whole universe conspired to create this event. Is it not true? The fact that the two were there at a point of time, the entire configuration of the universe, which is all the time in motion, in some way or the other, led to this event. And this is a small, insignificant event. What was the probability of this happening? Probably zero. Yet it happened. The same way, all the events that look as random are because there is a very complex world play where all the forces are constantly acting, jostling, and what we see at the end is a last common resultant. Now, in that common resultant, what we have done is only one aspect, but not the only aspect. So there are many things which are happening simultaneously. And since we cannot keep track of all those forces, we use the word luck. But what is the way to make sure that all these forces are aligned in a beautiful way? Very simply, that there is the one divine who is the master of creation. He is in every element. And therefore, if we turn to him, then he simultaneously takes care of the entire universe. And of course, keeping us also in as part of the whole play. He is not make it centered around us. That he will not do because that's not how universe operates. So luck is simply the last end result which is presented to us as a result of a very complex play of the universe. But this is also not the last. What is more important for us should not be why things happen, what happened. The important question is, what do I do with what has happened? That's what our focus should be constantly on the future. I have a lottery. So what do I do now with the lottery? That's more important than how I got a lottery. I may throw away this wonderful chance, or that getting of that money may help me to make my future better. One last story with which we can stop about luck. There was a man who, after death, it's a story. So after death, he goes to, wherever, And he is told that you have been a very horrible person in your life, but you did a few good deeds. So you, for the good deeds, you will get 3 minutes in heaven. Otherwise, your life will rot in hell till you are reborn. So, what do you want first? He says, send me to heaven. So he goes to heaven, he has 3 minutes. What does he do? Now he starts gifting away all the things that are in heaven to everybody. Now, because he is gifting these heavenly things, his future is improving. His length of stay becomes more and more. Now everybody is very nervous. What to do with this man? So they tell him, see, you can't go on like this. So what we are going to do is, we want to tell you, you can ask one boon. And after that, leave heaven. He says, okay. So what is your boon? I want to have the vision of God. Vishnu. So God appears before him. And then all those who are attendants around, they say, okay, now your time is up. Come to hell. He says, how can somebody who has the vision of God ever go to hell? Ask him. So Narayana smiles and says, no, he has to be freed now. So you see, his luck was very bad because of his deeds. But he turned it into a great blessing and used it in such a way that those 3 minutes of heaven became for him a means for everlasting immortal life. Okay? So more important is what we do with what we receive.
Yes, ma'am. So actually, I want to ask, you mentioned that God is everywhere, and I really agree that yes, God is everywhere with us, and we can invite and request God to come, and like we can have a chat with Him. But I want to ask, sir, like in newspapers, we read some, this robbery happened, this case happened. Then these questions like linger in my mind. Where was God that time? Like if we take Nirbhaya's case, where God was there, where was the God?
So, but that's exactly what I said, that he is everywhere, but we have shut him out. There is something which we have to do. See, that's the whole beauty of the play. It is not like an automatic presence. Otherwise, this world would have been wonderful. But precisely, we have a little role to play. And that's why we must get into. You can take it like this, that you have a phone with you, but you have to activate it. Without activation, it is like an inert presence. So the divine has two aspects. One is like a witness presence, and this witness presence also has a role to play. So as you said in the case of, Nirbhaya case or many other cases, what does he do? He takes, despite all the evil, the pain, the torture and torment, he is the one who gives the inner strength to go through all this, which is unbearable otherwise. Not only to the person who departs, but also to, parents and everybody. He gives that strength. But this is like a silent presence inside. Why doesn't he override everything? Because we need a kind of openness. Otherwise, if he rushes inside with all the strength and everything, we won't be able to bear it. And most importantly, because in this play, everybody is involved. It's not just about one person, about all the people involved in the play who are staging this act. But when we start acknowledging the presence and we start inviting him, calling him, then we open the door to the intervention. That's what is important. So the other side of God, where he dynamically engages with us, is where our role comes in. So when we treat him like a passive presence, then he remains like a passive presence. But when we treat him like a living person who can intervene, he will intervene. Now, I don't know about this instance, what was the inner connection with God. But I am sure wherever there has been an inner connection, that is the story of Draupadi. Even in the most dangerous situation, there will be an intervention. But this connection we have to form. So we are given options. See, that is why through these choices we evolve. If I take it that no, I don't care about God, I want to grow with my own strength, God will allow us. He will not say, don't do it. He will say, all right, do it your way. And we'll go through it, learn, grow, go through life, death, all this process. Or we can equally say, well, I will do my bit, but I want you to be with me all the time. Then that road begins to open for us in our life. So while He is there everywhere in everything, we need to form that link. That is what I was trying to say. That to acknowledge the presence, call His name. In fact, if one calls the name, I can tell you, even such forces will not come near you. If they come near us, it means we opened the doors. If whoever is the person was really calling God's name, and I have seen it in my own life and many other lives, you will see that danger will come and pass away. It will not enter, it will not touch. Last minute there will be an intervention. But unfortunately, this is not a knowledge which we gather. We take it, life is coming, going in its own way. Let's enjoy it, let's, have some fun. I am the one. So because of that, we close the doors to the intervention. That's the tragedy, unfortunately. That such a wonderful help is available all the time, but we need to do our bit. Okay?
Thank you so much. Krinali adds Prahlad's example to this. She's written in the chat box that I'm reminded of Prahlad, how he took everything, how he could bear all the hardships because of his immense faith in God. Yes, one last question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that's the last question, right?
Sir,
Yes.
I wanted to ask that what is the relation between our luck and luck and the God? We often if one day we have a bad luck, so we often blame it to God. We often blame it to God. So, what is the relation between luck and God? Is it because of God only?
Luck. There is God, ultimate manager or ultimate Malik, and there are many players in the play. So let's take it like this, that in a house, you want to build a house, okay? Now you have decided something should happen, but to build a house means many persons will come into the play. There will be the person who will make the drawing, somebody will lay the bricks, somebody will do the plumbing, somebody will do the electrical thing. Finally, the house will be ready. So God is the ultimate owner of this place called universe. But there are many other beings who come into operation to build this world. That is the beauty of this world. It's not like a mechanical automatic system where he built a robo and he pressed the button and robo worked. So that's where these forces come into play. And they create a good house or a bad house. And yet, that's the beauty. If you are connected with the owner, he will ensure that the bad house will become a good house. Or you will get a house which you need or you deserve. He will have his own way. He will push the forces. That is the difference between those who form a connection with God and those who just let things go their own way. So there are many, many forces, many beings which will create a situation. Now we use the word bad and good. Actually, they don't exist. As I said, that bad and good will depend on what you do with what you get. One may get a small room and turn it a prison into a place of ashram and meditation, like Sri Aurobindo's life. And one may be the president of a most powerful country, and yet mess it up so badly that one is all the time living as if in a prison. So there is nothing like good luck or bad luck. There are situations, circumstances, and how we deal with it and what we do with it, that will turn into something good or bad. So that's what I am saying. That it doesn't matter what the situation is. It is what we do with it that is important. And if we do it with connection with the divine, then he will ensure that whatever we are doing, he will add his bit into it and change it into something very beautiful, something which is wonderful, which is like a blessing. Even the most seemingly impossible situation will turn into a great blessing. All right? So, thank you so much. Let our life be a blessing of love, God's love.
But thank you so much, Alokji, for taking out so
Thank
much
you.
time
Thank you.
for our students, and especially the question answers are a very important part of your talk because they just answer all the doubts, and there shouldn't be doubts and fogs in children's mind. So, eternal gratitude to you, and we would like that you give us more time, and we are able to get more talks from you. Maybe even once a month, Alokji would keep the flow going in the children, if that is a possibility from you, Alokji.
Surely, surely we will meet. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you so
From me,
much,
ma'am.
Alokji. Yeah,
Thank
thank you so much, Alokji. It's a pleasure listening to you. And such a beautiful thing you said. Life is magic if you live with His presence and talk to it continuously. uh,
Thank you.
children children, perhaps you can live with this thought, you can practice it. The school has always insisted on it. And another one, karma is about purusharth and grace. So let us not go back to my old acts were these. It is what you do, in what kind of consciousness, what act you are doing. I think we can hang on to these two and put them into practice in our life. Then we shall have achieved the aim of this particular talk. Immensely grateful to you. Thank you so much for sparing so much time
Thank
and
you. Thank you.
answering all the questions so patiently. And I can see the happiness on their face. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We
Infinitely.
can just have a 30-second gratitude
Yes.
Thank
silence,
you.
a
Thank you.
silence. Yes, just 30-second silence.